Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. So, guys, let me tell y'all. Now, y'all know we've been phasing through this periodic table series, and every other segment or so, we might have to intercede and come in here and talk about something that's kind of not, in alignment. Well, it's not exactly the topic, but this topic is actually in alignment. And it is as promised because we had this discussion about all of the children that have been reported missing. And then I had stated that we were going to discuss the different types of drugs that are used to actually kidnap people. And let me tell y'all, first of all, I knew of some of the drugs, like the street drugs that were used for recreational use, but I had no idea there were so many different substances that were used to sedate people and kidnap people, right? So let me first just say this. There are different classes and there are all types of drugs that are used. They have like nefarious uses or they have legitimate uses, right? So let's just start out with the most common, okay? The most common drugs used to like kidnap people and sedate people, you guessed it, probably are like roofies, right? You have roofies, ketamine, and GHB. These are actually in the same family as far as recreational drugs are used. So roofies, I'm sorry, let me look at my notes. So you have roofies. They're not legal. They cause intoxication. They impair your judgment. They slur your speech. They can last up to 8 hours. The effects of it can last up to 8 hours after 10 minutes. It relaxes your muscles. It can come in the form of a tablet. It can be crushed also to be snorted, or it can be liquefied. It actually slows down your heart rate and your breathing when mixed with alcohol. It also causes memory loss, okay? Then you have ketamine, which is an anesthetic in the veterinary world. Also for humans, it causes amnesia, delirium, impairs your motor functioning, and it too affects your ability to, I said amnesia, right? Okay, yeah. So it also is used, again, as an anesthetic. This is legal, unlike roofie. Roofies are legal in Europe, but not in America, right? GHB is a central nervous sedative, also known as gamma hydroxybutyrate, right? Or liquid ecstasy. It causes drowsiness, dizziness, nausea, depression, seizures. It looks like water and it's slightly salty. I'm sorry, this GHB is an anesthetic in the US, and it treats narcolepsy. It treats narcolepsy in the US, and it's used as an anesthetic in Europe. And after 20 minutes of ingesting, the effects can last up to 4 hours. Now, the reason why I named these first is because they are the most common as far as settings where there are multiple people, parties, if you're going to go on a date or something like that. These are the things you want to watch out for. So if you're going to like meet up with a guy, these are some of the things that he will probably sedate you with. I think it's important to mention that Valium, Xanax, Ativan, roofies are all in the same family called benzos or benzodiazepines. You can look it up, right? Now, let's move over to the gases, because this is what's being used when we are mostly unaware, right? These can catch us off guard the most. Now, I know we see movies and we see people get kidnapped, right? And we have the infamous napkin. That is chlorohydrate, also known as Mickey Finn. This gas is colorless. It's hypnotic. It suppresses the central nervous system. It induces sleep. And it causes cardiac toxicity and hypotension, not hyper. Hyper is excessive or increase or up. Hypo is down, decrease, or like things like that. So it causes the tension to be in the state of hypo, right? It reduces. It causes you to pass out up to 8 hours after 30 minutes of exposure. And all the person has to do is put a little bit on a napkin, put it up to your face, and then you're out for up to 8 minutes. If they want to keep you asleep, they just put the napkin back under your nose and you're out. This is a gas, okay, that is highly, highly toxic. Now, even though we have like sleeping aids, right, or gases that are used as anesthetics, any one of these used in an excessive amount can cause toxic or harmful effects. So you have like valerian, melatonin, doxylamine. Those are like sleeping aids, right? And then you have sleeping gases like BZ. It's odorless. It's a crystallized powder. When inhaled or ingested or is absorbed with the skin, it can cause really, really dangerous effects. Now, these sleeping gases are used for the purposes of anesthetics. So like nitrous oxide, enflurane, halothane, isoflurane, sevoflurane, Neothel, right? Or even this exposure to fentanyl, right? All of these can, and I'm not even going to include fentanyl with that because that's like a separate, it's not a gas, and it's not used as an anesthetic, but it's something that you don't have to have direct contact with in order for it to have an effect, to cause effects, right? Like I said, it's not a sleeping gas or anesthetic, but it can definitely cause you to be knocked out, especially if you haven't had much exposure, one small little exposure. Now, some of the gases like ether, diethyl ether or just ether, right? After 15 to 20 minutes, it can cause intoxication. It smells a little sweet. It's colorless. It's highly volatile and extremely flammable. Okay. Halothane 2 is one of those gases that can be used for multiple purposes. And what I like to say is that, again, in certain amounts, these gases are considered to be poisonous, and they all have some sort of usage in different industries, right? So it's not like they're just strictly used to sedate people for surgery or for whatever, nefarious purposes. These are legit substances that are used in other fields, mainly like for paper and building, things like that. Okay. Now, when you go over to like propofol, pentobarbital, those induce comas. Etomidate, these are barbiturate-induced drugs, right? So these actually are legal, and they are families to other classes of drugs. Now, what I found most interesting was that hydrogen is used to change the state of some of these gases. So we're, again, not totally off of topic, right? We're in alignment with the topic. Now, hydrogen cyanide, which is crazy because this gas is actually in the cherry pit and it's in cigarettes. So we have hydrogen cyanide, right? It's causes seizures, dizziness, weakness, headaches. It's colorless, poisonous gas, right? And it's more toxic than cyanide alone. So when it's oxidated, meaning the hydrogen is added, it becomes more toxic. Chloroform, not to be confused with the chlorohydrate, chloroform is also really popular in the world of sedation, especially kidnapping. It's actually present in water, and it was used as an anesthetic before World War II. It causes pulmonary edema and respiratory depression. It's bad for your eyes, your liver, and it's actually used in the Freon for refrigerators. And then we have the hydrogen sulfide, right? There's different ones. It's colorless, smells like eggs. The amount determines the effects that it will have on you. In high dosages, just a few breaths can cause you to die. 5 minutes of small, breathing it in small amounts can cause you to pass out. You only need 1 to 2 breaths at high dosages, right? Then we have hydrogen phosphine. It's colorless, flammable, smells like rotten fish, highly toxic. It causes hemodialysis if retinal failure occurs. It's also known as phosphide, right? Now, I went into some of the ways that we can fight this off. Now, with roofies, all you need to do is drink a lot of water. With chloroform, remember, this is a gas, not the chlorohydrate that we see in the movies, not the Mickey Finn. The chloroform, which is one of the stronger gases, all you need to do is take strong breaths and then breathing something potent in like ammonia or peppermint, and it'll kind of like knock the because what happens is these gases, they form bonds, right? Covalent bonds, and the receptors attack other important parts of your body. So if you are able to breathe in something, that will disassociate the bond, it'll start to unlatch. Okay. Ketamine, all you have to do is place a person in a quiet, calm environment. You have to remove stimulation of all sort. So no music, no TV, no lights, no loud talking. Really person-to-person contact would cause them to be excited. So just like a dark, quiet room and just, sitting there with them quietly will help. Flumazenol it appeared to be the only thing that came up as a antidote for all of the other gases. This is a GABA receptor antagonist. It basically reverses the effects caused by sedatives, right? And it actually was, like I said, listed as the antidote to roofies. Anything that causes is a receptor antagonist. Okay, the GABA. We're not in a science course or anything, so I'm not gonna go in too deep. But before I go, I'm happy we had this discussion only because if you feel like you've been sedated in any kind of way, at least you know what some of the symptoms are, right? At least we can put a name to some of this, and at least we have some sort of antidote just in case we did come across. So remember, chloroform, all you need to do is take really deep, strong breaths and breathe in peppermint or ammonia or something that's really, really strong. If you think you've been drugged with roofies, drink water and tell someone. Always tell someone that you trust if you think any of this stuff happened. If it's ketamine, they also call it Special K. You want to remove stimulation and be placed in a quiet, calm environment. I'm going to leave it there. I'm happy we had this discussion. More than likely, we're going to be resuming to the topic of the periodic table. So far, we've discussed hydrogen and oxygen. So out of the main four, we have nitrogen and carbon left. Not carbon. I love y'all. I hope y'all are enjoying your weekend. I hope y'all drinking your water, eating your fruit, and minding your business, okay? And I hope y'all are taking care of yourselves and staying safe out there. That air is still acting crazy. All right, I love y'all. Peace.